Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Bonfire Racing Network here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, here at the mile and a half from back in 2008 on the old surface that eats up tires. So these truck drivers are going to have their hands full today for this 120 lap race here in Atlanta. Track temperature is 111 degrees, while ambient temperature is 84 degrees. So it's going to be a hot, slick racetrack. Tire management going to be at an all-time high. Should make for some good racing action. See who can save their tires the best to come home and win. So as I look around here on track for qualifying, let's see who we got here. Looks like Dennis Puckett in the number 11. Or number 12, my bad. I was thinking of David Owens in number 11. And it's in that pink Dunkin' Donuts car. Or truck. Eventually I'll start saying truck instead of car, but... Now turn 4 for his first time lap. We'll see how it does on the timing board. And right now, that was a 32.7, so not the fastest overall. David Beal has gone fastest with the 32.1. How about the number 11 of David Owens? Got his name right this time. Timing board still not properly showing. There we go. No, that's still not right. AJ Benish to the top of the board with a 31.9. David Owens doing a 32.01. Number 45 of Stephen Neal. Stephen spending his time here a little loose out of corner number 2. I say Stephen spending a little time here at the Bonfire Big Truckin' Tuesday. Look at a motor earlier in the week, sharing it on the Discord chat. And now in the description of our streams, you can join that Discord server. And on our website, you can join the iRacing Leagues here to join in on the action in the Bonfire Racing League. That's both Sunday mornings and Tuesday nights. So that last time for Stephen Neal was at 32.29. Hopefully he's wanting to improve. He comes through 3 and 4, running that middle lane. He's going to run down the hill towards the start-finish line. See if he can improve. That's up to 7th for Stephen Neal. Somebody I haven't seen before. That's Nicholas Rendo. I think I remember his name from a few weeks back. Doug Neal on pole with a 31.85. AJ Benish with a 31.91 and Fred Lester with a 31.93. Running the top. Nicholas hopefully carrying a lot of speed. He's going to try and do that money lap here on lap number 2. I would assume. Don't want to get it too far in the marbles. That's up in the fence. Hopefully that doesn't cause any damage here for the driver of the 05. Now it's time to run that money lap. He's going to run that top lane again. He's hoping it will do him very good. Doesn't need any contact with the wall this time. Needs a timed lap. So far, so good. Out of turn number 4. Little loose, and he's in the grass. And into the fence he goes. Gonna crumble up that front nose. Driver of the number 17, Sam Milliken. Gonna be coming across the line to end his first lap. Gonna put him 19th overall. A little loose. Hold on to her, Sam. Gonna try and dive it in there through the middle. Gonna hope he got a small lift. That's gonna cost him time in the long run. Across the start-finish line. Moves up to that 10th position. Now time for the driver of the 971, Nate Maurer, for his first timed lap through 3 and 4. One of the faster guys in practice. It's 13th overall for that first timed lap. Nate really holding it down there on the bottom very well. Not loose on exit either. See how he can roll through 3 and 4. Down to the bottom of the racetrack. Coming across the start-finish line. That's 3rd overall. Beats his teammate Fred Lester with a 31.93. Almost basically tied it. Not sure what it is in the thousandths, but must have been really close for those drivers to have tied. I think that's going to do it here for qualifying. Looks like there's 2 minutes left in qualifying. So we'll go through the results of practice to kind of keep an eye on some of these drivers, see how the race turns out for them. AJ Benish was fastest in practice with a 31.901 with David Owens and Nate Maurer, your top 3. Those 3 guys quickest overall in practice. Then it's Zach Engel, Doug Neal, Matthew Smith, Sam Ballard, Fred Lester, Steve Lewis, Jack Duval, your top 10. And then it's Nicholas Rendo, David Buell, Dennis Puckett, Matt Novella, Graham McGivern, Stephen Neal, Edward Peltz, Richard Swingle, and Matt Schofield, your top 19 out of what I believe is going to be a stacked field here of 28 cars if everybody does indeed join the session once the race session gets underway. Beautiful facility here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, especially on the old surface. Don't really have a track that eats up a lot of tires here in the trucks, so these drivers might not be used to the rough surface here at Atlanta. If Larry Mack was on this broadcast, he'd have that cheese grater grinding up those Goodyear rubbers to show the tire wear. But overall, I think it's going to challenge these drivers with a pit strategy. If we get green flag runs on when you come down for tires versus when you don't. But that is if we do get green flag pit stops. qualifying just finishing up here. So let's go through and look at your results for qualifying. As Doug Neal is going to take that pole position with a 31.852. And it's AJ Binish and Nate Maurer rounding out your top three. We can see there 0.05 of a second separates Nate Maurer and Fred Lester. We were wondering about that after qualifying. Then it's David Owens, Zach Engel, Jax Duvall, Stephen Neal, Matthew Smith, and Sam Ballard, your top 10. But these drivers getting underway here. They got the motors fired up on those NASCAR stock trucks. And we should have some good action here. 14 rows to settle out here at Atlanta. Just waiting on, it looks like a few drivers, 5 drivers maybe, to start gritting up here. Possibly they may be adjusting their setups here. That pace car is gonna get rolling here. Looks like somebody did miss the timing for gridding up. That looks like the 84 of Jax Duvall, who's not gonna start on the racetrack as that pace car is rolling. Gonna be a long road ahead for that checker flag. 120 laps here at Atlanta. Looking for about maybe 3 stops, so maybe around 40 laps for those fuel windows to open up, but I think they can go a little bit longer. So we'll have to see if they can get underway cleanly. Sound like there's an issue at Richmond for both Cup and trucks with those yellow flags coming out, but we're not short track racing anymore. We're back at the big tracks here with the 1.5 miles. But those pace car lights are off, and Doug Neal going to lead the field to green here in that 00, with AJ Binish in the number 5 as they hit the Geico restart zone. Barney the flagman waving the green flag. We're racing here on the old surface of Atlanta. Equal start for the front too, but Doug Neal's gonna get a really good launch going into turn number 1 there on the bottom. See the whole field there down the back straightaway. It's AJ holding out strong there on the outside. As now AJ is gonna lead that first lap here. Further back, Sam Milken running the bottom, trying to make a run on Stephen Neal in the 45. Further back, Mark Dumont in the 114, making a run to the outside of Paul Ferdiani. But out front, AJ Benish securing that lead in the number 5. So now he's going to want to try and put some time on the 00. But David Owens on the outside of Nate Maurer. That's Fred Lester and Zach Engel there on the 47 behind them. Sam Ballard there in the 80 in a battle with Matt Novella in the 56 through 3 and 4. Now Matt's looking to the inside of David Beal there in the 52, who's really high up on the racetrack. I don't know if he got up into the wall. But Steve Lewis and David Beal going at it there. I believe that's for the 11th position, but David Beal got Joseph Amato right in front of him in the 929. David now going to look to the inside. Oh, don't get loose. David Beal almost going for a spin there through corner number 2. Leaning on that right rear a lot. These things are not getting comfortable for AJ Benish there in the first position, as Doug Neal fighting back there on the bottom now in that 00. As the 00 got loose, they're coming out of corner number 2. As we do get our first yellow, Steve Lewis, David Beal, Edward Peltz, we just left them. That's going to bring back our first yellow flag. Let's go back and see what happened here with Steve Lewis. David Beal just coming up the racetrack, gets into Steve Lewis. Some of those drivers having nowhere to go as Chris Morrill spun out. Not sure if he received any damage from that. And it does. He kept a hold of that car. I don't see it banged up at all. I could probably tell those tires are hot, as it does not look like it's handling that well for him. And that's going to bring out our first yellow. Doug Neal, Nate Maurer faking it down pit road, but does anybody actually go down pit road that needs it? Looks like Sam Ballard's going to come down. We see a little bit of damage there on the passenger door, a little crinked up. But then Paul Ferniani, Graham McGivern coming down pit road. Maybe to get off cycle on fuel. Morris Craven, another one of those cars. And those drivers involved in that first accident also coming down pit road. It's a race off pit road. Graham McGivern and Paul Ferniani, who will get it? I think Graham McGivern got it, so congrats to Graham there in the number 33 as he beats Paul off pit road. That's AJ Benish. We are on board with him. He's saving fuel here during the pace laps. Let's kind of go back and see with David Buell what happened there. Yeah, he just starts coming up the racetrack and gets hooked by Steve Lewis, almost flipping over. And obviously holding the brakes, but wants to get to the bottom of the racetrack. We see Graham and Paul there trying to avoid it. And I believe that was Nicholas Rendo getting caught up with Edward Peltz there, not quite able to clear. But then there's Chris Morrill trying to miss Steve Lewis, turning the wheel a little too much. Great job staying off Morris Craven. But as we can see here, he just keeps going and going and going. Able to stay off everybody, so great job there from Chris. As those pace car lights are off, we're going to go back racing here. As AJ Bennett is going to be on the bottom. Nate Maurer right behind him. So that pace car is going to peel down off to pit road. AJ Benish going to hit the Geico restart zone and take off with a great jump on Doug Neal. I think Nate Maurer spun the tires there. Or is there another yellow? I think there might be another yellow. Sam Ballard is showing that he crashed here. Try and go back and look to see what happened here. Oh, he stopped on the racetrack to try and let a car by, so I think it thought he was maybe crashing. Steve Lewis, also somebody that went off track, but that was earlier. So, interesting turn of events here. So pace car lights are off, so are we still gonna be one to go? I'm all kinds of confused now. Yeah, those pace car lights are off, so we are going to go back racing, I believe. That field's got to get stacked up, though. At first, I thought Nate Maurer spun the tires. I don't think that was the case. See if pace car peels off pit road this time. And it looks like it will. Not sure what happened. Maybe there was some debris, but now AJ takes off to go back green flag racing. And Nate having a good jump there. He's on the rear bumper of the 5, going to push him into turn number 1. As Fred Lester and Doug Neal are going side by side for that 3rd position. Sam Milliken making the pass on Mark Dumont there for the 10th position. Sam's got some help with Matt Novella in the 56 right behind him. Matthew Smith almost pushing up into the wall right in front of them. Pushing everything he's got here on the early goings of this race. It's further back, Max Schofield in the 61, racing with Jack Stivall in the 84. So it looks like maybe Jax was blinking just a bit. Matt Schofield off the throttle a lot, getting passed by Grant McGivern right now, and I believe that's Pim Luke there in the 920. Good to see old Pim back here racing. front, David Owens still working on Doug Neal in that 00. As Fred Lester now leading this race over AJ and Nate Maurer, as AJ a little loose coming off of corner number 4. Now Doug Neal has tons of room if he wants to slide down in front of David Owens. Can now run that bottom. So there's a good fight here all the way back to that 11th position with Mark Dumont. All those guys here at least being able to see the leader, and then it's Nicholas Rendo in the 808 or the 05 with Chris Surgeon in the 06 kind of leading that second pack. AJ continues to try and save that top right front tire. David Owens now on the outside as Zach Engel gets a little loose there off of corner number 2. On board with the 47. As David Owens had a little wiggle there through the middle of 4. As we do have a race for the lead, Nate Maurer, Fred Lester on the back straightaway. Fred's going to get out of the gas there, letting Nate take over. As now Fred's going to be side by side with the 00. As we do have a yellow, Joseph Amato crashing. Our second yellow of the day for cause. Let's go back and see what happened with the 929. Oh, I'm not sure what happened there. He obviously getting into with the number 12 of Dennis Puckett. Try and slow it down here and kind of see what happens with the number 12. So can't really see what happened. I think Dennis came down to try and hit the quad oval, thought maybe the 929 was going to clear him. Try and go to the in-car of the number 12. Here we are with Dennis Puckett. Unfortunate accident between those two drivers. Dennis just is able to keep on going, but that's probably heavy damage as we do see some pit stops happening for the leaders. AJ Binish, one of those guys, staying out to get some track position. So we're going to have a race off pit road. It's no contest for those guys running up front. That switches out the front of the field. We got Stephen Neal, Matthew Smith now in those two podium positions, followed by Matt Novella, Jack Duval, Dennis Puckett, Richard Swingle. Top 7 not pitted yet. Maybe or possibly halfway through the run. That's why maybe some of the field took tires and others possibly maybe fuel only. Looks like Nate and his crew taking fuel only. First car maybe taking tires. Zach Engel in the 47 and Sam Milliken there in the 17 taking tires that last pit stop. Barney the flagman holding up that yellow flag loud and proud, just like the Statue of Liberty. Joseph Amato still down in the pits after that incident. Don't really see any front end damage. Not as much as David Buell behind him. That whole front end torn off of that 52. Sam Ballard also down pit road. Sam gonna have to get out quick. Yeah, he does. Gonna beat the pace car out. So we're on board with the leader, AJ Benish, with our in-car. As those pace car lights are off, we're going to get back underway here. So we're going to possibly see Nate Maurer in the 971 make a charge up through the field against these guys on older tires. I think it'll come down to the race at the end, which strategy works out. But right now, it's working out for AJ Benish, who's still leading laps here early at Atlanta. He's going to take the green flag before anybody else. Barney the flagman holding the green flag waving, back underway. With maybe some guy spinning the tires. Oh, big accident further back in the field. Richard Swingle, David Owen, Sam Milliken, Edward Peltz all involved. That's going to be another yellow. I think it all started with Richard Swingle there. On old tires, possibly spinning them. Let's go back and dissect that. And nowhere for him to really go. He spins the tires. So we still don't really get a clear image there. Just the carnage afterwards. Here we might have a good view here. Look out for the plaid car. So he starts getting loose and we get a building right in the way. What are these camera angles? I cannot catch a break just like these drivers with my camera angles. Anytime I pick one, it seems to be the wrong one. Yeah, I think this will be a good one. Green flag back up in the air. We see the field kind of start to stack up. Richard Swingle not able to hold on to that car. As more drivers are getting collected, David Owens being one of those. So he got into Doug Neal and just lost the car. It's hit by Graham McGivern, so heavy damage there for the number 11. Edward Peltz in the number 7 as well, involved in this accident. Or he's just slowing down on track. He's trying to stay as far away from it as he can. He really wants that 0x. We see Richard Swingle fixing the damage to his number 948. That worked out pretty good for most of those drivers that did there. Now we've got 4 drivers that still need a pit. Matt Novella, AJ Benish, Matthew Smith, and Dennis Puckett all still need to make a pit stop. As those pace car lights are off, we're going to get back green flag racing here. About 90 to go. So if they can have enough fuel for 60 laps, they'll be in great shape, but I doubt they can. Actually, it wouldn't be 60 laps, it'd be 40, it'd be 90, so maybe 45, and a 45? No, that's just wrong. 45 and 45. I'll eventually remember how to do basic math. But that puts Matt Novella to that outside. It's once again AJ gonna lead him to green, see if it has a smoother restart. As that pace car dives down onto pit road, Barney the flagman, flag in hand. Green flag back up in the air. Nate Maurer to the inside. Does he pass before the start finish line though? That could be a penalty. As Matthew Smith starting to fall back there on those old tires. As Nate Maurer already up towards the second position. That's further back with Jax Duvall. It looked like it was 3 wide. Those improper racing cars 3 wide as well. I believe that was with Chris Sargent. So They're 3 wide again. Mark Dumont down there on the bottom. Nicholas Rendo on top. Those two improper racing cars of Tim Luth and Chris Morrill trying to hold off Matt Rendo. Matt getting up into the outside fence, trying to go around the outside of Pim Luth. Mark giving a shove to the number 50. Now they're 3 wide. Oh, Mark Dumont having a close call with the front bumper of Fred Lester. Chris Morrill still moving his way up through the field. Paul Ferniani and Mark Dumont still going 3 wide. As Matt Novella and AJ Benish still holding off Nate Maurer. And Dennis Puckett there in the 4th position holding on. Matt Novella really high up on the racetrack. Able to keep it out of the fence. It's now Matthew Smith trying to recuperate after that terrible restart. As up front, it's getting dicey. Mark Dumont slicing his way up front. These guys, I believe, on newer tires. Trying to work their way up front. Oh, Chris, hold on to her. Oh, it's getting sketchy. Oh. Nicholas Rendo holding onto that car, probably more than racing it. I don't know how many times I've seen that 05 sideways. Is now Matt Novella up front. As Mark Dumont behind on fresher tires, what will he do to try and get by the 56? Will he shove him to the lead? Oh, he's gonna get loose. Mark Dumont going for a ride. Oh, able to hold on to it, no yellow. That's gonna put Chris Morrill in the number 50 behind the 56. And Jack Duval in the 84 behind AJ. Chris gonna try and diamond the corner, get underneath the 56, put it 3 wide, can't do it. Jax Duval blinking out. Now Chris going to the top behind Jax, who is still blinking. and pushing the 5 out front. Now the 84 leading this race, but he's still blinking. Nobody knows where he's at. That's Chris in the fence. He's going to slow down his momentum. You saw how much speed he lost there down the back straightaway. Now Paul Ferniani in the 44 moving up to that 4th position. Matt Novella up in the wall. He's still loose. He slams it hard. Do we stay green? He's still up there. Car's probably not going to handle like it wants to for the rest of the race. Unless he gets lucky and fixes it under yellow. But back up at front, Jack Duval with around 3/4 of a second lead over Paul Ferniani in 2nd. And then Mark Dumont, who had that incredible save down the back straightaway, he's in that 4th position. Now working on the 5 at AJ Benish. Now Mark's going to look to the inside of the 5. As Chris now sliding around the racetrack, trying to keep a hold of that car. Mark Dumont's going to slide into that 3rd position. Now Matt Novella down pit road to maybe get that damage repaired. Further back, Nicholas Rendo in the 05 now on Stephen Neal. The 2 driver, oh, Nicholas up into the fence. Hold on to it, man. Probably that right front tire falling off of that number 05. And then Stephen Neal now passing Chris Morrill up into the top 5. Great showing here out of the driver of the 45. Now Doug Neal coming down pit road. Even having to massage the throttle there, try and keep it from getting loose. Should be an easy pass on the 5. Matthew Smith now hounding on Nicholas Rendo. As Nick's still fighting loose conditions inside that number 5 or 05. And Dennis Puckett coming down pit road now with AJ Benish. Oh, but the Dennis speed. That might be a penalty for the driver of the number 12. We'll have to keep an eye on that, see if it was a penalty. Now lap down cars starting to get a piece of the action. Matthew Smith now coming down pit road. As who was that guy got really loose? I think maybe that was Chris Sargent, maybe. Not sure. As Mark Dumont we saw get loose. He's up into the fence, falling down into the 4th position. halfway on these tires. Some drivers struggling now with the abrasive surface that Old Atlanta has. So there's David Owens, number 11 there, who was involved in that accident on the restart. Is not sure what happened to David Owens. We'll have to go back and look. So he got up into the fence and just took down to the bottom of the racetrack, able to hold on and not bring out a yellow. He's going to head down pit road. Jack Duval out front with a 2.2 second lead. Obviously, he hasn't been fighting with everybody behind them. It's now Nicholas Rendo. He's getting passed by AJ and Richard Swingle. And now Fred Lester is charging behind him. As he pushes up the racetrack again, we can tell that car's really tight. He can't get it down on the bottom. That right front is gone. As we go on board with the driver of the number 05. Watch his entry going into turn number 1, and watch that wheel more importantly. Hear him get out of the gas and put more steering input in. That car just wants to go up the racetrack. Sam Milliken now slowly catching up to Doug Neal, or maybe Doug Neal running away from him. It's just the closest delta I saw on track. Yeah, Sam just on older tires, probably a lap down after that incident. Now Fred Lester has caught up to the 05. Fred able to wrap the bottom here. Should get a really good run down the back straightaway on the 05. A spike on the throttle there from wheel spin. That dirty air going across the nose of the 6. Richard Swingle, Grant McGivern battling it out for position. That's for position number 13. Both these drivers a lap down, but pitted fairly late. Still, those tires are old, so not sure what will be going on with them. Sam Ballard back in the number 80 in 19th. So Tim Luth and Steve Lewis crashed. That's going to bring out a yellow here on lap 59. Go back and see what happened to them. Him getting loose, trying to collect the car, and right in front of Steve Lewis there. Oh no, it is right, Pim. And that steering all kinds of broke for the driver of the number 88. As now we have pit stops for our leader, Jax Duvall. Chris Smith, I think, will get the lucky dog. Or possibly, not quite sure who will get the lucky dog. Now some drivers who were in the back gonna come down pit road. A lot of drivers gonna try and get the wave around here, possibly. No, they're gonna come down pit road. As we reach the halfway point here in Atlanta, just want to remind all you guys, hit that subscribe and like button, turn on that bell icon so that you never miss a Bonfire Racing Network broadcast. As AJ is going to inherit that lead over Jax Duvall. A lot of cars going to get their lap back with the wave around. As those pace car lights are off, we're going to go back racing. Once the driver's coming out at turn number 4, and that pace car gets out of the way, it's AJ Benish and Jax Duvall. Gonna lead the field to green here with Paul Fernini and Stephen Neal. Jax really high up off the racetrack. Not sure what happened there with Jax. AJ able to get a really good jump on the rest of the field. I'll start to get single file. as Jax is now fighting back on the outside of AJ. Dennis Puckett, Pim Lutz, Steve Lewis, and Chris Smith have hit pit road. Not sure if there's any penalties there. Now Jax Duvall back up front with a gap over AJ Benish. And let's not forget about Nate Maurer in the 971. He pulls the crossover, it looks like, on Paul Fernandi in the 44. Nate Maurer to the very top of the racetrack. Can he stay out of the wall? Looks like he can't. No, he can't. Just right when I said it, he taps the wall. Whole field scatters out behind Nate. As now Mark Dumont looking to the inside of Stephen Neal there. That is for position number 6. The field now getting single file. No real battles on track, maybe between Chris Morrow and AJ Benish. So AJ is significantly lower than the drivers around him, possibly saving tires. I don't want to call him out for that and ruin his strategy, but I believe that is what he's doing. It's now Fred Lester looking to the inside of the 44. This is for position number 2. But can't quite clear him. Here comes Nate Maurer on the inside of number 6. Great crossover from the 971. AJ's still falling back. He's down to the 8th position. As Chris Morrow went off track, let's see what happened to the driver on number 50. He's actually down pit road. Huge damage on the right side of that car. Go back and see what happened. Oh, up into the fence, turned sideways. Able to hold on to that great car control from the number 50. But he is going to be down pit road to get that damage repaired. Back at it with Nate Maurer and Paul Ferniani. Paul doing a great job running that top lane. Using that momentum off the top of the corner to stay equal with him, but Nate having a really good run down the back straightaway. He's going to dive it down into turn 3. Paul held him tight there on entry. Nate's going to try and clear him. Can't. This is great racing for that second position. It does look like now Paul does conceive that position. Oh, big wiggle for Nate Maurer. So Paul's gonna be back in this fight. With about 46 to go here. Paul slowly closing the gap to Jax Duvall there. Was slower that last lap, or actually equal with him that last lap. So could the leader be having issues here? As he's going to have Chris Smith right in front of him. Jack's able to extend that gap again. Now it's almost 9/10 of a second. Further back, Sam Ballard and Doug Neal starting to get close to each other. Looks like Sam was a little bit faster that last lap. Doug loose off of corner number 4. That's going to allow Sam to get right by him there, as Doug had a wiggle there in the quad oval. As now Jax has reached over 1 second in front of the cars behind him. Nate back hounding on the 44. Really important for Paul not to get into the outside fence, lose all that momentum. It's going to be 42 to go next time by. As Nate is putting everything out on the racetrack, he wants to get past Paul. Paul slow rolling the bottom of the racetrack, having a really good line there through 3 and 4. He's going to continue to defend the bottom. Oh, as Fred Lester clipped the grass a little too much. Is that going to bring out a yellow? He's down off the racetrack. He's going to put it into the pits. Big mistake there out of the driver, the number 6. But Nate Maurer does get by Paul. He's going to try and dig into what lead Jax Duvall has. Further back, Matt Schofield, Matthew Smith closing up on Steve Lewis, who is a lap down, not racing for position there. But there is Doug Neal that they're closing in on. Here goes Matthew running the inside of the or the middle of the racetrack. Getting some clean air on the front nose. It's dug up into the fence. Matthew having to lift out the gas there. Are they going to go 3 wide into 1? Doesn't look like they are going to. It's Paul Ferdy, or no, Jax Duvall, not sure where he went. Oh, he's blinked out. I wondered where he went on the timing board. As we go back to this battle, Matthew Smith and Doug Neal and Matt Schofield. As now Paul Ferdinand closed up the gap to Nate Maurer again. Sure if Nate had a mistake there in turn 1 and 2 off screen. Oh, Nate got loose hard into the outside wall. Now he's taking a trip to the infield just like his teammate Fred Lester. Can he keep it off the wall? No. Into the pits goes the 971. So Paul Ferdiani able to rest a little bit, but Mark Dumont is faster. As Jax continues to blink in and out. But Matt Schofield now trying to make the move on Doug Neal. Chris Surgeon right behind them. Doug missing pit road. That's not going to bring out a yellow. And he is going to tow into his pits. Steven Neal now having a really solid day up into the 4th position. And what about Nicholas Rendo? Up 23 spots from where he started, up in that 5th position. Hasn't been the easiest, but we are going to have a yellow. Is it for Doug Neal? I believe so. So yeah, yellow flag coming out on the racetrack. With almost about 30 to go. It's gonna let Sam Milliken get the wave around. Get him back up on the lead lap. As those leaders now coming down pit road. As Jax Duvall continues to blink on and off pit road. Right side going up for Jax. Here comes Paul. But it's going to be no contest off pit road for the top 4. AJ Bennett's going to slide into that 5th spot off pit road. So we take a look of your top 5. Doesn't really show well on here now, does it? Jax Duvall, Paul Fregnani, Stephen Neal, Mark Dumont, and AJ Benish. I would say, no offense to the other guys, but only one of them seems like they're there consistently. So those guys that are kind of in the back half of the top 10 or maybe even mid-pack having a really good solid day, staying consistent, staying up front. And only 11 cars still on the lead lap here. Edward Peltz, Graham McGovern, Richard Swingle can still get back on the lead lap theoretically. Dennis Puckett, that first car, multiple laps down. It's going to be harder for him unless we start having a lot of yellows. Multiple cars getting that wave around. Those pace car lights are off. We're gonna get double file here. Jax Duvall picking that top lane. Putting Paul down on the bottom in front of Stephen Neal. Mark Dumont behind Jax there, our leader. And then it's AJ Benish and Sam Ballard in that 6th position. On this restart, we're gonna crank it up for you guys, so I'm gonna turn off my microphone and just let the engines do all the talking. Paul Ferdiani still running in that second position. Led a few laps there off that restart. Jack's able to track him back down and retake the lead. So we hit 25 to go here. This race is far from over. Paul's going to try and pull the crossover here down the front straightaway into the quad oval. They're going to be side by side going into corner number 1. Jack's going up the racetrack. Paul just a little loose there down on the bottom. Oh, down on the apron, Paul. It's going to shoot him up the racetrack. Here comes Mark and AJ. Give Jax a little bit of breathing room, but here comes Mark. AJ realizes it's go time. We're on board with the 114. Oh, Mark got a little loose there, out of the quad oval. Paul's trying to hang strong, but Stephen Neal now in that 5th position with Matthew Smith right behind him. They're just right behind this group, just a second behind Jax Duvall. Far from out of it. Max Schofield closing in on Sam Milliken there in the number 17 for the 10th position, the final spot in the top 10. Here comes Nicholas Rendo. He made the pass on Matthew Smith. Starting to push up the racetrack even more up into the fence right in front of our camera. Slid just right against the wall. But Paul and AJ closing that gap back up to the 84. As Paul blinks out there for a little bit, that's going to put AJ to his inside. AJ clears him going into 1. Paul knows this is not his fight. His best chance is get these two fighting and hope they burn up their tires. As Paul got a little loose in the wake of the 5. AJ backing up the corner, getting a run on corner exit. Not sure it'll be enough, though, to catch Jax. There's Matthew Smith on Sam Ballard. So our 16 to go here in Atlanta. Nicholas Rendo up the racetrack once again, stays out of the wall this time. But who is that on the bottom of the racetrack? That's Paul Ferdiani, I think. Probably had a huge wiggle. It's going to set him back away from AJ, put him in that 4th position. Now we're just around 15 to go in the closing laps. And right now, AJ not really able to do enough to catch David Owens crashing. Does that bring out a yellow? Shows that he went off track. Let's see what happened with David Owens. Down the back straightaway. Up into the outside wall. He pulls it down to the bottom of the racetrack right when Steve Lewis was coming by. That does not bring out a yellow. AJ starting to close the gap. You can see the lead right in front of him going into turn 3. $13 to go this time by. AJ was having a really solid 1 and 2 there, but had to wait to get onto the throttle. So we hit 11 to go. AJ not really able to hit the lap times he needs to try and close the gap up to Jax. To go here at the line. Right now, it's all Jax Duval having a really solid race up to this point. As he starts running that top lane, AJ up there as well, trying to find the speed to close the gap. AJ real loose off the corner. 9 to go. Gap's 3/4 of a second. Jack's really loose through the center of 1 and 2. That's going to make him lose a bunch of time. Could the race leader be having an issue? It's 8 to go. Jax was faster than AJ that last time by. Oh, we do get a yellow. With 8 to go, a yellow flag does come out. We're going to re-rack them. Looks like it was Chris Smith in the 37. Let's go back and see what happened. on the apron of the racetrack, misses pit road. But comes back in, but I think that is going to be our yellow flag. Oh, that... I can just kind of feel Jax's stomach sinking in. Everybody's going to come down pit road for new tires. At least in the top 11, they should. But we're going to re-rack them here, as I think we're going to go back green with maybe 3 or 2 to go, but I don't think we'll be at an overtime attempt. Let Richard Swingle get the lucky dog. So now there's going to be 12 cars on the lead lap. Everyone should have been good on fuel. I think just depending on what everyone feels like their car's going to do with more fuel, it might take a little bit more. It's going to cost some time on pit road, I believe. Possibly not, if they get 4 tires. If they get 4 tires, we still don't know what exactly they're going to do. I think Paul Ferniani has made up his mind and going to go down pit road. Actually, no, these guys stayed out. Pit stop's already happening. We missed it. AJ pitting there for a 4-tire stop along with Sam Ballard, Matthew Smith, Matt Schofield, Chris Sargent, Richard Swingle. But Sam Milk and Nicholas Rendo, Stephen Neal, Paul Fernier, Mark Dumont, and Jax Duvall all choosing to stay out. I think this is going to heat things up. If AJ can fly his way up through the field to get back up in front. Sure what Jax was doing there. Also gonna have to pay attention if there is any wheel spin on this restart, and where does it happen, and does somebody spin out and bring out another yellow? But those pace car lights should be going off this time by. And they do. So we will re-rack them here. Jack's going to take the bottom of the racetrack. That's going to leave Paul to the bottom as well. Stephen Neal up top. Nicholas Rendo to the bottom. And Sam Milken to the outside. Or not possibly. Jeff, you think it was a good call staying out? We'll have to see how that works out for these leaders with 3 to go. Jax is going to lead them to the Geico restart zone for a 3-lap shootout to the end. Will there be any wheel spin? We'll find out here shortly. As they hit the Geico restart zone. Green flag back up in the air. Oh, Mark spinning the tires. Paul spinning the tires right into Sam Millick and Sam Ballard. That doesn't bring out a yellow. We're still green. But AJ Benish making the pass on Mark Dumont. That's for the 3rd position. As now AJ is flying here. He's going to shoot to the bottom of the racetrack. He is going to drive right by him. With 2 to go, AJ on the inside of Jax Duvall. Will he have enough to get her done? Yes, he will. AJ up front. And here comes Matthew Smith to the inside of Jax Duvall as well. Another guy who took tires. AJ's just wanting to get back to that white flag. As he hits the front straightaway. 1 to go here in Atlanta. It is official beyond this point. As there's a battle for the 5th position with Chris Sargent and Mark Dumont. Sound like somebody got up into the wall there. Matthew Smith diving it in there. He's going to slide up the racetrack, but out of turn number 4, that 5 car with the call on pit road, he is going to come across the start-finish line and win at Atlanta. Chris Sargent coming home in the 3rd position. I think possibly his highest finish here. What a great finish there for the driver of the 06. But what a heartbreak for Jax Duvall coming home in that 4th position after leading the closing laps. Just making the wrong call on pit road. AJ bringing it home here. Can he do a burnout, though? That's the question. He won the race, but can he do a burnout? He does it right into the fence. What a celebration for AJ Benish. As we head to our results of the race. So we get them pulled up here. AJ Benish coming home with Matthew Smith and Chris Sargent, your podium. And Jax Duvall with the heartbreak in 4th place. Stephen Neal with a strong finish in 5th. That's your top 5. Then it's Matt Schofield, Mark Dumont, Sam Ballard, Nicholas Rendo, and Richard Swingle, your top 10. Sam Elkin just coming up short with that involvement with Paul Ferdinand on the restart. Those guys going to be the last 2 on the lead lap. Then it's Joseph Amato, Edward Peltz, Graham McGivern, Dennis Puckett, Chris Smith, David Owens, Zach Engel, and rounding out your top 20, it's Steve Lewis, then Doug Neal, Nate Maurer, Fred Lester, Chris Morrill, Matt Novella, Pim Luth, Morris Craven, and David Buell, rounding out the field. I don't see anybody in the broadcast booth, so we are going to wrap it up here at the Bonfire Racing Network, unless somebody pops in without me knowing. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up here, and we'll be back on Sunday for some more racing action here on iRacing as I head over to the Cup schedule to see where they're at. I think it's going to be a good one here, as it looks like they are going to go to Auto Club Speedway. Now I remember after the broadcast on Sunday. So it should be an action-packed race there at Auto Club with the Cup guys. Going to be a strong field there with some experienced guys and some names that you may recognize. So we'll catch you up there on Sunday. And remember, I might see you out on the track, and I will blow your doors off. But until then, see you guys later.